Stories we tell ourselves define and limit us. And they're just stories, they're not facts. I got rid of my biggest dramas, so did my clients, and if we did, so you can do it too. As you can see, we're back with another Cozy Corner Real Life Talk on Thursdays. Welcome to my channel, and let's begin another amazing conversation. Today, I'm sharing how to heal your past wounds, emotional baggage, dramas, and limiting mindsets. Essentially, how to take back control of your life and your thoughts. And most importantly, take over and take control of your stories and transform your life for the better. On my last week's video, I talked about a great magical method on how to alter and use your story to manifest all you ever want in life. If you have any past wounds, this step that we're talking about today is very necessary for you to take so you can manifest your dream life faster and easier. If you want to know all these steps, keep watching. Before I get into this, I have to say that everything we're talking about today comes from my own life directly and my coaching and counseling experience. All the stuff that I'm sharing here in this video are the things that helped me in my journey to walk through my wounds and personal issues in life. And they really helped me from 0 to 100. 0 being the most miserable life, and 100 being the life that I'm living today. And it's my dream life that I always wanted. It also helped all my clients to achieve their ultimate happiness in their lives. The very first thing that I want to shine light on today is the truth that you're not alone or different. Nobody's perfect. Nobody lives a perfect life. Every living human has issues and problems to deal with. And I've personally grown to believe that self awareness and living an ultimate happy life doesn't mean that all your problems fade away from your life. Living a life without any issues or problems is not something that a human being can do. And if people call issues and problems a negative concept in their lives, I personally call them my golden keys to my success and to my happiness. And this is not only a cliche thing that I want to say because I'm a life coach and I want to promote myself. It's because I believe it. I believe it, and it's a fact in my life. All the things that I walked through, even the loss of my brother, even all the hurts and pains that I walked through in my life from people around me, from relationships, and from every other thing that came into my life in a negative way, has been things that made me the woman that I am today and gave me the life that I have today. So I'm thankful, positive, and happy for everything that happens to me. But the perfect that some people have in mind, it doesn't exist. The perfect that I talk about when I say that I'm living the perfect life, it's the best life that a human can live. It's the life where you're happy from every moment of whatever you're living. And when you achieve that point, you're automatically going to have the things that you want in your life. You're automatically going to have the partner that you want. You're going to have the house that you want, the job that you want, because you are looking at your life in a positive way. It's a fact, because I was there where I lived a life that I wasn't happy from. I was there when I lived a life that I thought there was a perfect out there, and I don't see it. However, the perfect is something that you have to create for yourself. It's something that comes from yourself, from your within. And once you get over all your past wounds and past traumas and get over all the troubles that you have in your mind, you're going to learn what's the best life that you want. And as soon as you learn it, you'll achieve it. We're here to learn how to achieve that ultimate happiness that we all want in life. We're meant to see these struggles from the positive window. And I personally like to call my struggles my life lessons experience. Here's a quote from Rumi for you to think about. The wound is where the light enters you. When I first heard this quote, I felt like, wow, this is so profound. But you know what? The understanding of this quote it gets much easier for you once you get to experience it by yourself. Once you experience some sort of healing, that's when you realize your wound is exactly and actually where the light enters you. Out of the darkness comes light. Out of life experiences comes deep awareness. And that's how the world kind of works. There is this balance of we all need the dark to have the light kind of thing, because the way human brain works is that we need something to compare it to other things too. There's like this adjusted position of it. You can only appreciate the light once you see the dark. I still have struggles sometimes. I still have things that make me mad or sad, or things that make me want to just sleep all day. But I'm strong enough to get back in a very short time. I appreciate whatever that happens to me. I love all my struggles and I learn from them. And for that reason, my life turns out to be much more positive than before. I see more miracles. I see things happening to make me happy. And I love my life the way it is because I learned how to turn my life around in a way that I can have everything that I want. And I work towards it, but I have it all and I enjoy it. And even every struggle that makes me cry, I enjoy it because I learn from it, because I love it, because I cherish them, and because I feel like those are the things that made me the woman that I am today. And those are the reasons that I'm here today. And they made me stronger. They gave me a lot more meaning to my life. And they made me feel and find who I really am. The second thing that I like to point out is that we need to stop judging people for their struggles, their challenges, and their journey of life learnings. We are in no position to judge others of how they should be dealing with their struggles and traumas or how to live their day to day life. So we need to stop judging and start getting busy learning our own life lessons from our own life journey. For example, we're not to say you shouldn't be complaining about your struggles because they're not as bad as mine. Yes, there is a range of traumas, wounds, and struggles out there, but we're not here to judge and figure out whose trauma is harder to handle. If we're in no position to help people, then we just have to stop judging, respect them, and let them be. The reason I say this is because everyone has different pain scale intolerances, and you just need to think of your own tolerance and scale of pain handling. Now, this is all relative because how bad your pain feels depends on all of your life experiences leading up to this point. So if you had like really mild privilege experiences, then something like a breakup can really hurt you because that's the worst experience you had up to this point. Okay, so the first step is self awareness. This one is huge because not a lot of people are aware from the emotional baggage that they need to heal. As Abraham Maslow said, what is necessary to change a person is to change his awareness of himself. So ask yourself and write down what childhood stories and traumas stick out in your memories. They might not seem too significant memories, but the truth is, if you remember them, it had a significant effect in your life. So draw down all of the events and the stories that come to your mind when I ask you these questions. For me, one of the big pains of my childhood was feeling scared that I might lose a loved one because I lived a couple of years of my childhood in Iran in the years of war. And at a certain young age, all I had to worry about was to stay quiet and hide under the table in dark so the enemy couldn't hear us or attack us. And whenever we heard that red alert on TV, that was the time we had to run under the table and hide and stay quiet. So I felt scared, I felt unsafe, and I felt like I might lose a loved one at any moment. Ultimately, that left a deep scar. So, with this first step, you really have to be honest and vulnerable with yourself. Give yourself some time. It might start falling out after you get started, but these steps are the key to start the healing process. So now the second part is understanding. A beautiful quote from Rumi, which describes all that I'm trying to say in less than 30 seconds, is that your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. And another one is that from understanding comes love. If we're trying to get the love of life back into our heart and soul, then understanding plays a big role to create that for us. And this is where you start to discover the new perspective to look at your position in life to understand it better. Because it's likely that after you go through a dramatic event, you thought of it in one way, in the same way, and your whole life up until now. It's truly only when you start to see the new perspectives that you start to realize that maybe what I thought and felt all this time wasn't true. Maybe it was just something that my own mind made up according to my perspective about that experience. Consider all that possible assumptions that you might have been making all this time, and all the unessential fears and cold feelings that you might have been holding within your mind. So, we're going to consider what is true and what we think is true, and what else was just an opinion or assumption that we thought. So, let's begin to realize that the fact is that whatever that happened and all the circumstances are gone. They're all in the past. And since those terrible causes don't exist anymore, it's going to be easy to erase away all the effects that are coming from the experience of those causes. So, getting back to analyzing my childhood with my traumas, considering the realities of that time, there was a war between two countries. And of course, the nature of the war is dark, is unpleasant, is scary. And that was exactly what was bothering me as a child. But you know what? It's long gone, it's in the past. So, when you analyze the past trauma, you think about it with the eye of logic, that it's gone, it's done, and it's in the past. And if you do that, you're going to start to realize there is no need to hold that tension within you and the fear that comes from it. Another perspective is to count the positives. So the fact that my family didn't get hurt in the war and we all stayed safe is a blessing that I can be thankful for. And another great way to look at our past trauma is to stop getting offensive from what happened. So stop getting everything so personally. I was afraid from the war, but the war wasn't between me and the country. It was between two countries. No one was trying to hurt me. This is my example, but if your example involves people who had left you with personal traumas and wounds, try to consider that those people who have done something to you personally were not against you. They also had childhood traumas and wounds. And that's what caused them to act a certain way that was hurtful to you. This exercise will help you understand your position more clearly and being able to see a new perspective and all the possibilities that what could have been true rather than your one point of view or one assumption that made you take everything so deep within you personally. The next part is compassion. We're going to start with self compassion. You have to start about being compassionate to yourself. What would you say to give love to your own younger self who's going through all the difficult experience that you went through? If you were to go back and look at your younger self with love and compassion, what would you say to her? If you see your own child going through the same feelings and emotions, how would you make them feel so good? Would you give him or her a hug? Would you tell them that they're safe and they're beautiful and worthy and they can make it through this no matter how hard it feels at the moment? Being able to see and feel your younger self with love and compassion is a huge part in healing that inner child within you. Okay, so now going one step forward in this compassion part is to have true love and compassion for all the people involved in your story. It doesn't matter how many people are involved, but having compassion for each and every human being is the key to ultimate happiness. This might be really difficult to do at first, depending on your story and how bad your trauma was. At first, it might feel impossible to feel compassion towards the people in your story. It might not even be doable at this time. And it's totally fine because you might just not be ready at this moment. But keeping this idea of being compassionate, forgiving, and loving to all human beings at the back of your mind will eventually lead to this state of acceptance, forgiveness, and compassion towards everyone, including the people in your stories. It's all a process you need to take. And to be honest, healing, it doesn't happen in one night. But as soon as you learn how to do this and you know the facts, you're already on the slope of healing and you'll get there very soon before you even notice it. Having compassion for the people in your story is learning to put yourself in their shoes and asking yourself, why did they do what they did? And maybe try to empathize with them and understand that maybe they went through a tough time, right? It's like when someone is so hurt in life and have lived a miserable life without working on their self-awareness, then there will be a chain of generation of people wounding each other, not knowing any better. And the fact that if someone is able to hurt others, then 100% they have an unresolved hidden wounds somewhere within them. Just try to find it in your heart to find some love for that person. Do this for two reasons. One, for your own selfish reasons, because at the end of the day, when you practice love, kindness, and compassion, you're the first one to profit. And two, because let's say when a bear attacks you in a mountain, it's not because a bear is a terrible being with no emotions and love. It's because the bear has the understanding that human can hurt them. And their attack is due to their own self defense based on their past experiences and knowledge from human. And the same thing applies for human. When someone hurts others, it's due to their own wrong self defense mode. And if you forgive and have compassion for them and try to understand their why, you're the one who is going to break that chain of hurting other people. This next part is also huge, and that's forgiveness. Let me put it in like big words here. Forgiveness is so important. That's something that I had to work on in my own life, trying to forgive myself and other people who have done wrong to me in the past. I learned that forgiving others is the first step to learn how to forgive yourself. It's learning to release the burden that you've put on yourself all these years from the things that are hurting you more than it's hurting the other people who were involved and did it to you. Learning to forgive is the first step of self-love, because when you love yourself, you don't want to hurt yourself. And especially you don't want to hurt yourself over a situation that happened long time ago and it doesn't exist any longer. It's just simply to learn how to let go. With that being said, forgiveness is also a process and it's not always easy, but the fact of the matter is whatever hurt you is in the past. You're living in the present moment. So anything and everything in your past, if it's not serving you and if it's not making you happy, it's not supposed to be here anymore. So now I'm going to tell you an amazing quote from Oprah. Forgiveness is letting go from the hope that the past will be any different. The past is unchangeable, but what you're able to change at this moment, at this time, is your own perspective of past. How you think of past and how you respond to it. Are you going to keep letting it hold you down, or are you going to let it go and forgive and send out love and good wishes and positive vibes to people who did this to you, who hurt you? And after you do this, you just move on with your life. Like they never existed in the circle of your love. Trust me, the circle of your love that you have around you is so worthy that you cannot risk to damage it by the energy, negative energy, by the people who hurt you in the past. Imagine a big pink crystal bubble around you where you're inside it, and the inside world for you is so glorious. Everything is beyond beautiful and happy. All the sounds that you like to hear, all the vibe that you like to have. It's a beautiful bubble that you have for yourself. And all the people that you love are inside it. So is it worth it to ruin this beautiful bubble because of the negative energy of the people who hurt you in the past and are now outside of your bubble, and you don't want them back inside the bubble? Is it worth it? No, it's not. So keep them out and keep their energy out. And because you want to keep the energy inside your bubble beautiful, loving, and positive, send beautiful, loving, and positive energy from that bubble to the outside world, to the people who hurt you before, and wish for their happiness, wish them luck, wish for them to be happy. This way, you could create that beautiful, happy, and loving energy and vibe around yourself. Okay, so the next part is learning, and this is also a very, very important step. This is where we take everything that we just talked about, the awareness, understanding, compassion, and forgiveness, and then we start to see how all of these were put into our life to help us learn many lessons. What has all these experiences added to our life, added to our self awareness? What have we learned? What have we gained? And how are we stronger because of all that happened? You know, we're strong not despite our challenges and our pains, but because our challenges and our life experiences. That's the key to life. That's the fact in every human's life. So that's why it doesn't make sense for you to live life avoiding challenges and avoiding pain. Although most of us do it all the time because we love living in our comfort zone, and what's called our comfort zone, but it's not really comfortable. If you guys know me long enough, you would know that based on my experience, growth happens outside of your comfort zone. Pain is uncomfortable, and it's the worst of uncomfort if there was some sort of scale for it. And the more painful and uncomfortable an experiences, the more powerful change and lessons it holds for our life and our soul. And pay attention, I didn't say it's for improvements because that's where you come in. And that decision is all left on you. You can choose to let a really painful experience change you for the worse and make you bitter, sad, and depressed and afraid, or you can let it transform you into your stronger, wiser, and more positive self, your higher self, basically. Because everything in life is happening for us, not to us. Does that make sense? Like, it's simply a shift in perspective rather than complaining about all the problems that you have. It's your awareness of God and universal power, which is a part of you at this moment. We need to understand that our problems are here for us. They all have hidden treasures for us. And so, this is a big part of your healing where you are gaining all of these lessons from your problems. A great way that I can describe our problems is a journey to find a treasure. It could be tough, dangerous, hard, dark. It could even feel impossible to get to the end, but at the end, you'll find a treasure. If you want to understand this concept better, read the book The Alchemist. If you understand the concept better, you'll try to find all the past issues and problems and write them down. And you'll try to find every little bit of good lessons and experiences that you learned out of each and every one of them. Don't let them go to waste. Learn from them. Otherwise, if you don't get the lesson from them, you will be repeating the same mistakes over and over again. And same issues would show up in your life until you learn the lesson. You know, this is why some people relive their traumas over and over again, because psychologically, like, that's what they went through. And it was so painful, but yet that's what they feel comfortable with. And that's what they know. And so they go from one abusive relationship to another abusive relationship. And obviously, there is more into this, and there is more hidden psychological reason to this. But learning from your mistake with intention can bring a massive change in the negative cycle of your life. This is also around the point in your journey when you can start to have gratitude for your pain. So you can start to feel grateful for what you've been through because it shaped you into a better and stronger version of yourself. Gratitude is a big part of healing process. It will happen gradually as you walk through every step, But if you even don't have anything to begin your gratitude journal, begin with being thankful for the oxygen you breathe, for the water you drink, for the things that we never think of, but they're the major part of our lives. And as soon as we become grateful for them, all the blessings will start pouring into your life. Finally, we made it to the last part, which is transformation. First, let's talk about rewriting your story through the eyes of love. This is a point in your journey where you're ready to look at your story from a perspective of love, from a more holistic perspective rather than a narrow minded view that you might have had in the past. So, rewrite your story in a way that serves you and serves your emotion as well. Try to ask yourself the question, where is that hidden love in my story? Where is the part that I need to be grateful for? So in my example, I can start to be grateful for having such experience in my life as a child, which had made me a stronger woman today, in terms of accepting that life can be worse and harder, and I need to be grateful for the fact that today I'm living in a world of peace, in a country of peace. I can also be thankful for the loving family that I had who supported me and each other throughout the war. The next part of your transformation journey is to rewrite your limiting beliefs. So let's ask yourself, what limiting beliefs do I have from my past experiences? You have to start to realize how those stories you've been telling yourself and all the mindset that came out of those stories might have been holding you back in different areas in your life. For example, me feeling that I might lose a loved one in any moment as a child made me anxious and worried all the time, every minute of my life. I always worried about every family member that I had. I was always having this anxiety about their safety. But when I lost my brother and when his life ended on his bed while he was sleeping, I realized that I had no control over anyone's life. And I realized that my anxiety was absolutely wrong. There was no reason for me to be anxious and to be worried. I learned that I could have enjoyed his presence while he was with us instead of worrying and instead of being anxious. So instead of becoming more worried and anxious after I lost him, I realized and I learned from that trauma that my anxiety has no room in this world. And I learned that I have to enjoy every moment that I have with all my loved ones while they're here in this world physically. So it's the matter of understanding why you have certain fears, worries, and anxieties, and how those things have been holding you back in life. I know we went through a lot today, but after all this inner work, you could finally take back control of your life, over your wrong mindset, over all the stories that you've been telling yourself, and write a new story for yourself. This is what this channel is all about. Really, it's like creating your dream life and the happy life that you always wanted. Writing the happy ending to your story, or I better say the happy content in your story. And it's for us to learn that the past is unchangeable and is in the past. And we need to learn how to heal from what we can heal and let go from what we can let go of. And to live in this present moment and to be able to ask yourself, how do I live my beautiful life moving forward from here? What good will I take with me and what negatives should I leave behind? Call your mistakes your keys to your treasure and enjoy them. The best way to live our life is to live it step by step, day at a time, learning how to enjoy this present moment as is. I mean, if you bring misery to your life while you let your life define you and you calling every experience your trauma and complaining about them, then life truly cannot be perfect. So it's totally up to you how to define life for yourself. And what I know for sure is that how you define your life is how you live your life. I hope this beautiful workshop helped you guys transform into a better version of yourself. Thank you guys for spending this beautiful time in my little cozy corner here on this channel. And I will see you guys soon next week on the same place, same time. I hope to Talk to you guys soon. Take care. Bye.